This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Welcome back to another Mackem in the Middle podcast, and the unbeaten run continues for us on here with our third win out of four, I think. Possibly, I'm not entirely sure. But a 1-0 win yesterday against Swindon, and it's just me and John today to talk about the game. You doing well, mate? Better than Sunday, at least?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, like you say, it's amazing what winning games of football can do, albeit not a great performance, but we'll take a win and we'll keep riding that the crest of the wave, shall we say?
The promotion bus.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We are. Well, every win is important, of course, but yesterday's was, again, even bigger. You know, Lincoln and Peterborough dropped points. I think Lincoln lost, and I think Peterborough drew with Oxford. Hull won, but we do still have 2 games in hand on them. We do sit 4th, which isn't a bad position to be in, John, but, you know, it's good to get a win even when you don't play very well.
Yes, man. You could go right to the top of, the football spectrum for that. Man City don't always, they're not always playing, scintillating football, but they'll find a way, to dig the results out. And that's exactly what we've got to do. We're a bit late to the party, in terms of being the top echelons of League One. But it's important now that, because a lot of teams around us are not very consistent. If we can keep that consistency, i.e., even when we're poor at Crewe, we still managed to take a point and things still managed to go in our favour. It wasn't great yesterday. Again, we managed to scrape through and get the 3 points. And yeah, like you say, teams dropping points around us, and it can only bode well. As long as we keep that up and going into actually playing those teams as well. Yeah. Sort of next month in a row as well. So yes, it's going well at the moment.
Yeah, I think out of the top 4, I think it's only Lincoln. No, we haven't even played Lincoln twice, have we?
No, I think
we have played them twice, but not in the league.
Next month, I've seen. No, I think we play all of them in a row. I think next month, so that'll be
Jesus.
Obviously, yeah, the business end. We've got a few games coming now where you'd expect to pick up the points fairly routinely, even though it doesn't always happen for us. But yeah, I think it's next month. And I was checking the fixtures that they do come thick and fast with all the top teams. So yeah, big test ahead, but looking forward to it.
Yeah. Obviously in previous seasons, that is the exact type of game that we would draw or even potentially lose. With all fairness to Swindon, they came up, they had no intention of keeping the ball, no intention of passing the ball, just defended and cleared the ball up the pitch. The players get frustrated, the coach and the managers get frustrated. Mistakes happen, but we seem to keep our patience a lot yesterday. Possibly too much at times, really, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't think we ramped it up a gear, which we could have done. There's a few things that sort of frustrated me, and I'm sure frustrated other people as well. I'm not sure what's going on with the formation. We seem to sort of be top heavy on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's to try and keep the opposition from attacking the left back, which we know is fairly weak in our team. But you've got Gooch on the wing, and then you've got Jordan Jones, who was quality at the weekend on the wing, and he didn't sort of get to go. He was sort of inside right winger of Gooch. So it was a weird setup. We didn't seem to have any real width. We didn't seem to have any sort of pace about us. And we at home, obviously the biggest frustrating thing for me was playing Johnson will probably say they're not, but Winchester and Scowen, are fairly defensive. I don't think we need to do that against these teams. If we have one sitting and then play one a lot more forward, Scowen's not a forward player. I thought yesterday he did the dirty work. But Winchester, again, I'm not sure he's a good enough player going forward. And then the only other option really is probably Dan Neil in there, but I wouldn't have minded to see a bit more forward thinking, especially at home and against a team sort of lower down the league. Different playing the top teams, I can understand, but I thought yesterday we were a little bit limited in the selection and the tactics.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that even Elliot Embleton could have been a decent option in midfield to get us forward a bit, but obviously he's a Blackpool now, and I think he's doing all right. I think he got an assist in one of his first games. I think he's on the bench a lot though, but we can't.
Yeah, I think he would have done okay, but again, he probably isn't getting in at the moment in our team. Obviously, we didn't know the injuries were coming, and I think it was interesting to listen to Johnson yesterday saying that he doesn't mind midfielders playing in defence because they can bring the ball out, which is fine. I've got no problem with that. Obviously, Nine can come out, Powell can come out and bring the ball forward. But then again, going back to my original point, there's no need to have Winchester and Scowen sat in there. You need someone, a bit more forward between the lines. Get your one player to sit, either Winchester or Scowen, whichever, to sit in the hole, like a sort of, the lead bit of wood. And then someone in between the lines to then turn. And then if you think who he's got ahead of him, he'd have McGeady out left, someone in the middle, could either be obviously Maguire, who didn't start, or whoever's playing there, Jones sort of thing, and then Gooch on the wing and Wyke up top to sort of pick. But yeah, it was just a little bit defensive for me. But he's a manager, and we'll go with what he goes with.
Head coach, manager.
Yeah, head coach. Yeah, sorry.
The Sunderland team from yesterday was this, and again, I'm not sure if they were correct on the formation on the Sunderland live stream, but for me, I thought it possibly was a back four as opposed to a back three. But what it looked like to me anyway was Lee Burge in goal, Max Power at right back, Luke O'Nien and Dion Sanderson in the middle, McFadzean at left. The three in midfield, Winchester, Scowen and Gooch. And then Jordan Jones, Charlie Wyke and Aidan McGeady as a front three. And again, I'm not entirely sure on the formation. We seem to change shape every 5 minutes yesterday, so I don't think anyone really knows. But there was a few changes. Obviously, Winchester coming back in. Coming in, I'm not actually sure how many games he started for us since he signed. But Jordan Jones came in after impressing against Crewe on Saturday. As I said, Max Power, I think, moved to right back. Were you surprised to see Chris Maguire on the bench after the difference he made when he came onto the pitch against Crewe?
Yeah, a little bit, because I thought, the way we played probably suited his game. Sort of a little bit slower, keep the ball, and, just pick out. He's another one who could easily, pick out the runners. I think you could tell when he came on, he was a little bit frustrated. He didn't start and obviously played really well. But then you've got to think with Chris Maguire, he seems to be a very, very good impact player. So, we went with Jones, who came on and did well Saturday. Starts the game last night, and then to be fair, I wasn't that impressed with maybe that's again going back to the the tactics and the formation, because I don't think he played out wide, whereas on Saturday he did against a team who was sitting back, and he murdered them. Team yesterday was sat back, and there was no space to run into, barring the odd time that Gooch managed to beat his man. So yeah, it was a weird one. You could go either way, I think, with Chris Maguire, and at the moment he's becoming the we've got the options on the bench, and in the squad to change games when they are like yesterday. We're sort of heading a little bit to if they'd have nicked one, we'd have probably been thinking, we'll probably struggle here. But then Maguire comes on, one bit of quality and an absolutely exquisite header from Charlie Wyke.
Yeah, it certainly was. But obviously, Conor McFadzean kept his place. We didn't really think he should have. I don't think many people did, but he did keep his place. Unai and Dion Sanderson, as they said in the post-match questions with Danny Collins, they are forming a good partnership at the back. for two people who aren't really natural centre backs, are they? Obviously, I think Dion Sanderson's played a lot as a right back. Luke O'Nien, God forbid what his best position is, because I think he's played everywhere for us. But it's not a bad thing to have when you're winning games, when you've got Conor McLaughlin, Bailey Wright, Jordan Willis, Denver Hume, Jamali. I think you've got 6 or 7 first-team defenders missing. So it's good to win games with, a makeshift back four, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely. Obviously, every week they're learning. We know we've got a few weak spots. Sort of, especially the left back position. But yeah, the centre back pairing, you'd probably be a little bit worried. Maybe coming up against your Peterboroughs and a couple of other teams who've have got sort of raw pace. But at the moment they're standing up to the task. The only thing I would say is yesterday I don't think we were tested too much, and Sanderson and 9 won nearly everything in the air, whereas on Saturday I don't think 09 and Sanderson won too much against Mandron and whoever the other striker was. So it's obviously swings and roundabouts. But yeah, at the moment with the makeshift team almost, we're doing okay.
Yeah. Well, the game got underway last night, and the first half especially, and even for the majority of the game, we dominated the game in terms of possession. I think we finished with 70 or so % possession, but didn't really create anything. The final pass just wasn't really there. It was, in a sense, very similar to the Crewe game, sort of, if you know what I mean by that, John.
Yeah, I thought yesterday it was just a little bit safe.
Yeah.
I don't think with Winchester and Scowen in there, they're very forward thinking, or even with a bit of tempo. Obviously, Max Power's had his critics, but the last few weeks he's been in midfield. He's looking to get things done and get things done quickly, which a lot of our players fail to do. And if we do that, we normally can catch teams off guard with McGeady going forward, or if it's Jones or Gooch. So we're normally doing that pretty well. But yeah, last night was just a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish, and there wasn't any real fluidity to it. I'd probably put my hand up and say it was quite a horrible performance, to be fair. But again, it's another one of those if you win 1-0, we'll take that all day long.
Yeah. Well, Swindon had the only real chance in the first half, and I say a chance, it was a half chance. It was a free kick in the opening minutes. I think it was Scott Twine, I think his name is. He's put a free kick low to Lee Birch's right-hand side. He saved it, and then Powers kicked him in the head after. But that was the only real chance of the half for either teams. Went into half-time at 0-0. Both sides were unchanged. We came out the second half, and it was the same story, really. Frustrating to watch, not moving the ball quick enough, as Lee Johnson said after the game. We didn't create much, from start to finish. And at the time, I think I said this 35, 40 minutes into the game, I said, this is a game where one goal will win the game. And it did in the end. But we made a few subs. Maguire and O'Brien came on for Lyndon Gooch and Jordan Jones around the hour mark. Lyndon Gooch off with an injury. And I know you touched on it briefly, but what did you make of Jones' start on yesterday? Obviously, I think we both think he did deserve to start after what he did against Crewe, but he seemed to carry the ball a lot without actually taking it anywhere dangerous.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But obviously, I think you've got to look at them in two sort of separate games. Obviously, Crewe playing, they try and play quite expansive football. So there's a lot of space there, and obviously they're at home, so the onus is on them a little bit to come out and play that football. So Jones comes on, plays on the wing, and he has their defenders on toast. You see sort of 2 or 3 of them trying to stop him, and still didn't happen. Obviously he sparks the game and almost single-handedly gets us the point. So it's a no-brainer to play him obviously last night. But then this is what I'm saying with the system, because obviously this team have come up here for Swindon have come up we know they're going to come up for a point. They're not going to come up here and, go toe to toe with us because, in reality, they know that we'd blow them away. So we've got to find ways of breaking them down. And I don't think that's the sort of game that would suit Jones. Sorry, he's not. Yeah, he just didn't. Like you say, he carried the ball for a lot of nothing. It wasn't wide. McGeady was obviously on the left, and Gooch was more on the right. So there wasn't a real place for him. It was sort of just like an extra body in there. And yeah, I wasn't that impressed. I think it's a lot of it goes on the tactics of in the system that we played. I don't think the system or the tactics worked. But that's why I say you've got to take both games in isolation, I think.
Yeah. And obviously, when you look at Jordan Jones, you've got Chris Maguire. I do think Chris Maguire was a lot more suited to the game. And I'm not sure if I'm wording this correctly, but I feel like Jordan Jones isn't a creative player as such. I think he needs space to work in. He needs to be able to get in behind. Whereas Chris Maguire, the likes of Aidan McGeady, really, it doesn't make too much of a difference what team they're playing against because all they need is a yard of space to cut inside, put a ball in the box, get a shot off, and they can create something from nothing. Whereas Jordan Jones, if you go to his goal against Crewe, he picked the ball up very wide. He's run forward 10, 15 yards and then had a strike. But against Swindon, it wouldn't work like that because they had 11 men behind the ball. They were very tight, very compact. It just wasn't a game for him, really, was it?
No, that's the sort of thing I was trying to say just a second ago. Like you say, if you'd have put maybe Jones out wide, or Gooch, and then you could have had Maguire sort of starting in the middle, and just say right, stay close to Charlie Wyke, and sort of give Maguire maybe just a free rein, in their half. I think that would suit him down to the ground. Obviously, it's yet to be seen whether Johnson trusts him enough to start him in a game because I don't think he started a league game for us yet. But performances, the last two games from him, and the system that we're playing, you think now he's sort of a shoo-in to start in there, which is a strange one. As 2 weeks ago we were saying, if he leaves, no one's really bothered yet. He's probably one of our most important players now. So it just shows you how football can just turn on its head in sort of 10 days.
Yeah. Well, late in the second half, as I said, we did get the goal. It was the first chance of the game, first real clear-cut chance of the game. As I said, Maguire was introduced as a sub. We run a free kick about 20, 25 yards out or so. It's a great ball into the box. Wyke's header just flew into the far post, really. And it was just the only real chance of the game. But luckily, this time, there's been a few games this season where it's been a similar story. We've had one chance, we haven't taken it. We've ended up with a draw, but we've took it this time. We've got the 3 points, but it was very nervy towards the last few minutes, to say the least, I think, wasn't it? Obviously, they've hit the bar. I think a little bit earlier, Lee Burge had a save to make. Swindon went 1-0 down, and then in the last 2 or 3 minutes, actually started to play football and actually looked dangerous, really, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and again, I think we've been mentioning it now for a few weeks now. There's still a little bit of naivety in the squad.
Yeah.
Because we got the passes in the team to, slow it down. Win the little stupid free kicks that we seem to give hundreds away a game. Just do the little things, keep the ball, frustrate them. But we couldn't do that. We kept turning back into trouble. We looked, as a poorer team as Swindon were, when they did pass it around at the back, it looked a lot more accomplished than when we did it. It was sort of messy and panicked, and they pressed us. And yeah, like you say, the free kick at the end. I think 6 weeks ago, that's the sort of goal that probably goes in, and then we're talking about the same old story. But yeah, nice to see, maybe a bit of luck, but we do need to work out how to, sort of finish off games. Obviously, we've got players like Ledbetter who, unfortunately, not available at the moment. But it's the perfect game for him to settle people down, just recycle the ball, knock it around, and just take the sting out of the game. And then on the flip side of that, we had two chances where obviously Wyke's pass to Maguire was poor. That makes it 2-0, kills the game. And then you've got the other one where Maguire and Diamond, you know, for all Maguire's quality, he just smashes it at the keeper. Whereas, you know, we're 2-on-1, just, you know, make some space for each other. And, you know, again, 2-0 is, you know, is a solid win. And then, you know, even if that free kick goes in, you know, we're still 2-0 up. Do you know what I mean? We need to, you know, we need to be a little bit more ruthless in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, obviously the game did finish 1-0. Luckily for Sunderland, it wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the most pleasing game to watch, but you know, at the end of the day, you're in League One. 3 points are 3 points, no matter how you get it. And as I said right at the start, we are now fourth. I think it's, I'm not entirely sure on the number, so I'm not even going to say it, but we are closer to the top than we were at the start of yesterday afternoon. Obviously, Peterborough did drop 2 points, so 2 points closer to the top. I think we've got 2 games in hand on Hull, which if we win, we could potentially move up to second, I believe it is. Obviously, Lincoln and Doncaster are also around us. Doncaster with 2 games in hand on us and 4 games in hand on Hull City. So again, it'll be interesting how that pans out. But we will move into the player ratings, and as always, we'll start with Lee Burge. And I've put down here, you know, he made a few early saves. Obviously, the free kick, a little bit shaky. Again, didn't really parry it anywhere, but you know, he's made the save and he's got the rebound. But after that, for the majority of the game, I don't think he touched the ball. Obviously, he's made an important save in the second half, so I suppose I better go with a 10 out of 10. He didn't concede, did he? I'll go with a 7.
Yeah, I've gone for 7. I think the one thing, you know, we're talking about, he probably doesn't do a lot during the game, and then sort of one nice ball from Swindon, and the guy's 1-on-1, and he, you know, he's out quickly, spreads himself, and keeps us in the game. So yeah, probably a really crucial time, because if they score, you know, then I think we're in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, fair play to him. You know, we give him a 6 for doing nothing, but he's done something. Yeah, so a 7 for me.
Yeah. Max Power, as I said, I think he was at right back. You know, he seemed to be out on the right a lot. I'm not going to say I know the numbers on this one because I don't, but I feel like out of everyone on the pitch, I feel like he's probably had possession for the longest. You know, every time we went forward, it seemed to start from him, especially down the right-hand side. But played some league passes, wasn't really troubled defensively. You could see him organising the players around him. So I went with a 7, possibly a high 6 instead. But
yeah, I've gone with 6, and I thought he was okay. There were a few times he sort of pinged the ball down the channel to nobody, and you know, if he's going to play it right back, he's got to have a bit better awareness of where his man is. You know, the guy sort of puts it in behind him, and the guy's 1-on-1. You know, if he's going to play right back, he needs to, you know, still sort out his awareness a bit. So yeah, he probably just gets marked down for that. That's all. But yeah, 6.
Yeah. Deon Sanderson, obviously, he has impressed in the last few games. I think he's had 2 man of the matches from me in the match report out of the last 3 games. But Swindon never really went forward. So he just had very little to do. Out of the 2 centre halves, which obviously we'll get onto in a second, he probably had the ball the least amount. So I've given him a 6 out of 10. Didn't do anything wrong, but didn't really have much to do. John?
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was just solid. You know, won all his tackles, kept them quiet. Yeah, I thought he was okay. I probably marked him down the last few weeks. So yeah, I'll put him up for a 7 because I thought he was good.
Yeah. Luke O'Neill obviously started alongside him, and I thought he defended very well. You know, his passing was very clean, I think is the best way of putting it yesterday. You know, he was very sharp on the ball, always looking for that progressive pass, whether it was down to McFadzean or Aidan McGeady. So I give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was possibly our better player yesterday.
Yeah, I've gone with 7. Again, I thought he was solid enough. Not really troubled that much, but he was very good in the air. I don't think he lost one header. For such a short bloke, he's very good in the air. But yeah, I've gone with 7. They didn't really trouble us, and they both centre backs played played well and did their jobs. Yeah, I've gone for 7.
Certainly did. Colin McFadzean shouldn't have started. I'm not going to sugarcoat that one, but he did. Obviously, Denver Hume is still out. I don't think we miss him a lot in this system. In comparison to the game at the weekend, he was better, but still very unconvincing. His passing was very sloppy for large parts of the game, but defensively, well, he wasn't troubled, so he couldn't make any mistakes. So I went with a 5.
Yeah, same. I went with a 5. He did a few things okay, but you can tell just by watching him, he's a very, very limited player, and obviously very lucky to still be here and still be starting. But yeah, it did ping a few balls down the wing, same as Power, just into no man's land where, I haven't got a problem with him turning back and knocking it back to the keeper. Just keep possession, pick your moments. But yeah, 5. I don't think he was as bad as maybe a lot of people made out. But like I said, he's quite a poor player for this team. And yeah, like you say, when Hume's back, then it's a shoo-in for him to go in.
Yeah. Lyndon Gooch, I don't know where he started. I think he moved into kind of central position alongside Wyke, especially in the second half. First half, he was kind of roaming midfield, trying to get on the ball as much as he could and beat his man. And in the first half, he was one of the only players that looked capable of attacking. He was still wasteful in possession. We still lost the ball a lot, and he's a very frustrating player to watch because, as I think Danny Collins said a few weeks ago, he'll beat his man, he'll come back, he'll lose the ball, and he'll give away a silly free kick. Very similar to Jack Diamond, but I've given him a 5 out of 10 as well. I suppose if McFadzean's a 5, I'll give Gooch a high 5.
Yeah, I've gone for 6. I thought he was industrious, but obviously he always is. He did beat his man a few times, but his final ball was it just wasn't good enough for what we expect. I think there was one time it might have been when he got injured and he just sort of waited and there wasn't it just seemed like forever. Like he waited to cross the ball, and then when he did, two Swindon players had already sort of picked the ball up. So I was frustrated by him. Again, I think he's one of the lucky ones to still be starting at the moment. Because I think if we're going to play, sort of a wider player, then I think you have got to put Jordan Jones in there instead of Gooch, and maybe looking at bringing Gooch on, sort of late on, with tired legs and just run at him, get us at the pitch a little bit. But yeah, I've gone for 6.
Yeah. Josh Scowen in midfield, and as you said earlier, he did all the dirty work in midfield, kept the ball moving. There was a couple of passes from McFadzean especially that put him under pressure defensively. But he dealt with them well, won the free kick. Just kept us moving. But when you're in a 2-man midfield and neither of you can really pick out that forward pass, that creative pass, it does start to get frustrating to watch. But based on his role in the team and the job that he did yesterday, I went with a 6.
Yeah, same. I've gone for 6. Like you say, got through a lot of the dirty work. Kept us ticking over. I'll be happy of him to, be the one who just sits in the hole and just sort of mops it up. And then give it to sort of, another who can, like we say, pick out that forward pass. But yeah, I thought he was all right last night.
Yeah. Carl Winchester started next to him, and exactly the same as Josh Scowen. Kept the ball moving when he could. Didn't really contribute anything going forward, but again, that's not his role in the team. That's not his job. So I'll give him a 6 again.
Yeah, same. I've gone for 6. I thought he was okay. He
A
turned
lot of
into
6s so far.
Yeah, it's just sort of one of those nights, wasn't it?
Average game.
Yeah, they sort of worked hard, but yeah, I thought he turned into trouble a couple of times. There's definitely a decent asset in there, I think, for him. Even if he was the one that sat there, but like I said, if we've got 2 midfielders sat there, I don't think it's needed when you're playing a fairly poor team at home. So it was a little bit sort of wasted, but yeah, he was okay. Yeah, 6 for me.
Yeah. Aidan McGeady kept his place in the team as everyone would expect, but didn't really create anything in a side that really relies on him to create things. Obviously, it's not as important now if Chris Maguire is going to be brought back into the team, but he just didn't look like he was going to do much yesterday. And I don't know if it was just me that thought this, but at times he appeared to me like a player that knows he's going to start the next game, as opposed to having to play for his position in the team. And, I don't want to criticise him too much because he has been a really good player since Lee Johnson came in. I dread to think where would be without him this season, but he just looks a little bit complacent, I think, now. So yesterday at least, but I've given him a 5 as well, similar to Gooch.
Yeah, same. I've gone with 5. I don't think he didn't do a great deal, and he actually gave the ball away a lot yesterday, which is, not just because he's trying something, that's a bit spectacular. It was more just the simple things. A couple of times the ball just sort of went out of play, and you're thinking like, what are you doing? Like you say, he does know he's going to start, and it's one of those games. Doncaster, he's doing the drag backs and nutmegging players left, right, and centre. Then last night he just can't get hold of the ball. I think it's just one of those things you're going to have with McGeady. But yeah, I've gone with 5. I don't think he did anything really.
Yeah. Jordan Jones obviously started on the other side. Very similar to McGeady. Very wasteful in possession. Never looked like doing much. Had a lot of possession without any intent of creating it. So again, I've given him a 5. I'd probably say a low 5 instead of a 4.
Yeah, I've gone with 5 as well. I don't think he was that good, but then I probably wouldn't blame it totally on him because I think it's more the system, as we were saying earlier. I don't think he's like an inside sort of player. He needs to be out wide. We need to get the ball to him, and he needs to have space ahead of him to beat his man. We clearly saw it Saturday. We can go outside or inside. He can shoot, he can cross, and that's the sort of thing we need. But if you've got Gooch there, there's no need for Jones, and obviously we've got McGeady the other side, and we weren't pulling them all over the place. So yeah, I think he didn't really show what he can do. But then again, like I said, I think his tactics and system didn't suit him yesterday.
Yeah. Charlie Wyke in the last of the starting 11. First half didn't really offer much to the team. He didn't win awfully much in the air. Was never really in front of goal in the first 45. But second half, he looked a lot better. Great header for his goal. Obviously, he was on the move, and it's just a sign of his confidence. 2 games without a goal. You do start to wonder. Is it gonna kind of whimper out his goal scoring tally? But it didn't. It's another goal. I think it's up to 24. I think so far this season. So it's good for him to get another goal. I say it's a goal drought, which for Charlie Wyke, bearing in mind it was 2 games, is pretty incredible. But I've gone with 7. He's got the goal. He's won the game. 3 points.
Yeah, same. I've gone with 7. I thought even Johnson mentioned it. I think he was tireless in his running, albeit sort of for nothing, if you know what I mean, because we weren't pressing. It's a pet hate of mine for the last few weeks. We're not pressing as a team. You just got sort of Charlie Wyke just running. But to be fair to him, he did keep running, despite not getting the ball. I thought he was bullied fairly easily, like in the air. Didn't really win anything, but it goes up to a 7 for his movement, and that header is, that is a player on top form and full of confidence. That's exactly what you need. I'm probably slightly worried that players are targeting him because he did get he got kicked sort of 2 or 3 times, and just before half time he was looking a little bit like it was affected him, and that he might have to come off. And obviously if that's the case, then we're in a bit of trouble. So I'd like to admit it's hindsight's a brilliant thing, but I'd like to see us maybe go 2 or 3 goals up fairly early on, and then let's get him off and let's get him rested. For we got obviously Rochdale. Obviously we haven't got a divine right to go and win, but you'd like to think we can get that game won fairly early, and you'd like to say we've got Portsmouth Tuesday. It's a massive game. We're going to need him, and then obviously the Wembley final on the Sunday. We're going to need him for that as well. So yes, a little bit worrying that he's playing. He's doing a lot of running for 90 minutes. Twice a week. That's going to catch up with anybody.
Yeah. I mean, there was 2 substitutes worth talking about, so I might as well include them. Obviously, Aidan O'Brien came on in place of Lyndon Gooch, I think it was. Obviously, it was a double change on the hour mark. You know, he did as usual. It was a good work rate, but didn't really create much. And again, no, that's not his game. He isn't really a creative player. He's more of a work hard for the team, and he'll finish when he gets the chances. When he gets a chance, oh, I can't even speak. When he gets a chance, sorry. But I went with a 6. Obviously, didn't really have too much to deal with when he came on, but didn't do anything wrong either.
Yeah, same. I don't really think he's a very good impact player.
No.
Did his bit of donkey work, sort of chasing down, but after that, I didn't really notice him, to be fair. So yeah, just sort of I'll probably even go as low as a 5. Actually, didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah. And obviously Jack Diamond and Dan Neil came on, but they came on with a few minutes to go. So the last sub was Chris Maguire. He came on, he got the assist, great ball in, and that's one thing that we mentioned after the Crew game. Over the free kicks that he had in that game, he put some great balls in the box. We didn't really get on the end of it, but we did yesterday. We got the goal from it, and we got the 3 points from it. So I went with a 7 for Maguire.
Yeah, same. I've gone with that. I thought, his all-round play. Like I said, I would like to see him, not up top with Maguire, but sort of just in behind him, so to give him sort of a free role and just go and just do your thing. And I thought he did that. His closing down was good. He was getting stuck in, winning free kicks, and he's one better quality in this league can win you a game, and that's what we've got, and that's what we need to utilise in Maguire. And yeah, it was very good. I'd like to see us now, especially with Rochdale coming up. Maybe let's find a way of getting him in from the start and seeing what he can do.
Yeah. And I think you've went with a lot of 7s. So out of those 7s, who was your man of the match?
I'll probably go with Charlie Wyke just for the finish, and I think he did work hard. We didn't really use him, or it was fairly well marshalled by two or three of their centre backs. So yeah, for the finish, I thought the finish was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'll give him it for that.
Yeah. Well, as we've mentioned, our next game is against Rochdale on Saturday. I do keep losing track of time, how many games are being played, but it is on Saturday. Predictions, Black One?
I'd like to think a nice routine 3-0 win. I'd like to say 3-0 in the first half. Shut up shop, get Wyke off, and just let's have a boring 45 minutes where we just we go through the motions. That's what I'm hoping for. It'd probably be something like 10-7, knowing us. But yeah, I'll take a 3-0 win.
Yeah. I said 1-0 on the preview podcast that we did for Swindon, so I'm going to say 2-0 for Rochdale. We do tend to be better away from home than we are at home for some bizarre reason. I still don't really understand why, but the lineup for that game we will quickly get through. And first of all, the formation you think we'll go with?
God, I don't even know what the formation was yesterday, to be fair. I think it's like a flexible 4-3-3, isn't it? It can sort of, because sometimes we just have 2 centre backs back,
yeah,
and the 2 defenders sort of push up, and
almost like a 4.
It's almost like
a back with 2 wing backs.
Yeah, it's almost like a 2-2-4, sort of 3-3, something like that. But yeah, we'll go with a flexible sort of 4-3-3.
That's fine. In goal, any?
Yeah, Lee Burge. Give him a go.
Lee Burge in goal, right back.
I think that is going to be Mr. Power again.
Power.
By all accounts, we'll have to see. This is a tough one. Who I think, because I think Mr. Younger needs to get a game. I think, but I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to stick with 09 and Sanderson.
Yeah, don't try and drop me points just to get a one over me on the leaderboard here.
Nah, miles behind.
Left back.
I think he's going to stick with McFadden.
Very deflated about that one.
Yeah.
Midfielders. Obviously, Ledbetter is going to be injured, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be something like Scowen, Winchester. Winchester, and I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I'm going to say Dan Neil.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, only because Gooch is injured. If Gooch weren't injured and maybe struggling a bit, I think he's going to put Dan Neil in there. I think.
Yeah. And your front three for the game?
I think he might go O'Brien, Wyke, and McGeady.
O'Brien, Wyke, and
Yeah.
Aidan McGeady.
Which is very
nice.
hard, Mr. Maguire.
It is. Just after we're saying he should be starting, we both left him out.
Well, I think he should be starting. This is a team I think that will be picked.
Yeah.
Because my team will be very different.
It could be. It's interesting to see how little Jack Diamond's actually played since he got dropped. Because he was playing every week for under Lee Johnson. Then I'm not really sure what changed, but he hasn't really played much since, has he?
No, he hasn't. I don't think we've found a way to utilise him. Obviously, we've got, we are stacked quite heavy on the wings, but we're not really getting the space to use Diamond's pace. He's sort of getting the odd minutes at the end. But it's definitely an asset between now and the end of the season to be used. In that Lincoln game, first half, he was brilliant. There's been a little bit of, when he's turning back, so maybe he's had a little bit of a kick up the bum to say, look, you need to keep the ball better. But if you've got a player like that, you've got to take some sort of risk going forward. He's going to lose the ball. Just stop giving away the stupid free kicks and make one or two of those chances going forward. Make them count, and then that's when he turns into your real asset. But plenty of time for him to develop. We're stacked quite heavily up there, and they are fairly fit as well. So yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, I think you're going to see a few of the young ones step up. We might have to use Ollie Younger. It's not the worst game to probably play him in against Rochdale, and obviously Jack Diamond. And then with Ledbitter's injury, you've got to think now Dan Neil's probably going to get some sort of chance over the next 3 games. So yeah, it's not the squad, even though it is it's heavily depleted, but we have still got the options there.
Yeah. Will be interesting to see what happens on Saturday. But that is all we have time for, and I appreciate you coming on, John.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me, as always.
There is plenty to look out for this week. We will be recording a podcast later on today with former Sunderland Academy player. We will have the preview for Saturday's game coming in the next day or two as well. And of course, on Sunday, we will be back to discuss the Rochdale game and hopefully be talking about the 3 points. But until then, we will see you later.
That's all, folks.